welcome back my lovelies to another video. Today I'll be testing L'Oreal's top makeup products. Full face of L'Oreal, some of the best products that I think are great for the price, the quality, and then some others that we found online that people just rave about. Let's begin. I do want to start with the eyes. We're using the Paradise Enchanted eyeshadow, and this smells like peaches. And this had so many good reviews, and I've never tried this out, so I'm really excited. But first, I am going to use the Infallible Full Wear Waterproof Concealer for the eyes to kind of help create a base, and then hopefully the eyeshadow works with this. Just a little bit here, a little bit there. And I'm using the Real Techniques. This is their soft accent brush. Like I said, I'm gonna start off with this shade right here. It kind of has like a very soft peach, a little pink in there. This is shade 4, and this is a matte shade. And I do kind of want to just sweep this all over the eyelid. You know, I'm gonna take this shade as well, number 2. Let's go in with this shade right here. This is number 8. It has kind of like a camel color to it. So far, the shades are blending very nicely together, and you can definitely smell it like when you pick it up, but I'm not smelling it on my face. I am gonna deepen this up a little bit. I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, right next to the camel color. This is more of like a brick, and I'm gonna start working that into the inner and the outer corners. Oh, this one had a lot of kickback. Oh yeah, this definitely has a very light sheen to it. It doesn't have shimmer, it has very light sheen. To deepen it, I'm gonna take this shade right here, number 11. And this also looks like it has a very slight sheen in comparison to the matte shades that I used, these 3 right here. So far, everything is layering really well. I'm not having too much of an issue blending. And then I'm gonna take this gorgeous, like a very dark, kind of rose gold in a way, and then we'll take the same little brush and try to kind of blend it in. And this is giving me quite a bit of fallout, but so far it's a very beautiful formula. Before I go in with eyeliner, I'm gonna take the very big fluffy brush. I kind of want to smoky it out just a tad bit more. Next, I'm going with eyeliner. This is their matte signature eyeliner. It's one of my favorite formulas. So even with me right now, I'm not the best at this type of packaging, this type of eyeliner where you have to physically draw it on, kind of have to go back and forth. I'm not gonna do a big flick just because this is more of a halo eye. I want the eyeshadow to be more of a focus instead of the eyeliner. So I'm just gonna create a tiny little flick. So like I said, I do have some fallout, as you can see. I'm just gonna use my pad that I used for toner. Like, look at that. I'm gonna let that dry. Apply a little bit of my skincare underneath, and then let's move on to the base. For the base, before my foundation, I'll be using the Magic Perfecting Base. This is Studio Secrets, and this supposedly helps to kind of smooth everything out, prep your face for foundation. And typically, I'm not really a fan of certain primers. I like primers that are nice and tacky. I'm gonna give this a go because a lot of people really like this product right here. I'm just gonna work this in circular motions. I'm just gonna warming it up in my fingers. You can see a difference right away. And this definitely has that very dimethicone feeling. It's not very slippery and it's not very tacky, it's just very smooth. It provides like a very smooth base on the face. I mean, you can see a huge difference. Let's move on to one of my favorite foundations from the drugstore by L'Oreal. I've talked about this many times on my channel. This is the Infallible 24-Hour Fresh Wear. You smiling at mommy? You like when I shake the bottle? This foundation is very, very liquidy, but it does have pretty good coverage right away. I would say it's medium. I would say it's a good medium to full coverage, depending on how much you do add to your face. I'm gonna first start with a brush, kind of stamp on most of that product into my face, and then if I need to use a dampened sponge to kind of smooth everything out, I will. And I do wanna say this is heavily scented, but it never broke out my face. So some products do, and then some products don't. And you can see right away, it's a good medium coverage. I'm gonna apply a little bit of lip balm. This is by Smith's Minted Rose Lip Balm. Okay, let's move on to concealer. Same concealers. a tiny bit of 325 and a little bit more of 340. I'm using the same brush I used for the eyelids. And I feel like the concealer does set a lot faster than the foundation. You know what, since it's a little bright, I am going to add some right in the center. I am going to set just a little bit like my full face using the Infallible Loose Setting Powder. This is just translucent. I usually don't use powder, but I figured for this video, since a lot of people love powder, I might as well test it out for you guys. Let's finish off the eyebrows and the eyes. For the eyebrows, one of my favorite pencils from the drugstore is by L'Oreal. This is their Brow Stylist Definer, and I am in blonde, has a spoolie on one side, and then the pencil on the other. And I do have my brows lifted right now, and they're still so good. I like how this pencil is nice and micro. It's still nice and creamy, but it still has a little bit of that stiffness to it where I can be nice and precise if I need to. And it blends really easily with the spoolie, and it lasts all day long. Okay, I'm gonna finish off the lower lash line and move on to mascara. Just gonna take a tiny little smudger brush. Going first with these two shades and kind of just go all across. Then taking the tiniest little brushes, I'm gonna work this shade in from the outer and the inner corners, but leaving that center free. And then very gently kind of smoke that out. And then go in with this gold shade that we used right in the center and just apply that right there. For the mascara, this is the one. It's a newer mascara by L'Oreal. This is the Air Volume Mega Mascara. I've heard both good and bad things about it. I haven't tried it out myself just yet. I do have some favorites from L'Oreal. There's the L'Oreal Telescopic. That one is just beautiful. I mean, it's stunning. And then I like the L'Oreal Lash Paradise, but the recent formulas, I feel like they've been changing them around and I'm playing with it, so they're not as good as the originals way back when. And then just the original L'Oreal Black Mascara. I mean, there's so many good mascaras from L'Oreal, but I'm excited to try this one and see how this is going to wear. And this is not a waterproof formula. This is just, I think they're blackest black. It's a very big fluffy wand. The bristles are not tapered. It seems like they're all pretty much very equal size, but the wand is huge. So let's see. I mean, it's definitely adding a ton of volume towards the base. You can see that, but so far I'm not really loving the way it's performing. I feel like it's clumping the lashes together instead of separating them. I just feel like it did nothing for my eyelashes. They look very short, spidery, very thick in a not good way. Not a fan of it, the way it applied, and I feel like I had to work extra hard on it to make it look good. Let's move on to bronzer. This is the Bronzer Please in La Terra. I'm gonna first use like a little angled, well, not little, a bigger angled brush for the bronzer. Do you like fragrance in your products? I'm more of no fragrance in my makeup, but skincare sometimes, like my body care, I love a good fragrance, especially if it's very like indulgent. Oh, so nice. This bronzer is okay. I think the color is a little off. It does have a little bit of a sheen to it, which I think for like a contour it's not good, but for bronzer I think it's fine for kind of like all over the face in a way to kind of give that like glow. I got the blush Age Perfect. It has a radiant satin finish, and this is shade Peony. Definitely has some little bit of gold flecks in it. Definitely can wear this shade all year round. Even though I feel like I don't need highlight, I am going to use a little bit. I'm going to go in with the True Match, their Lumi Shimmerista, and this is in shade 505 Moonlight. This might be a little bit too much for this look, so we're gonna go in with the tiniest amount. Literally like the tiniest amount that you'll barely even notice. But tiny bit, if you get you can kind of see that, right? It's just a little bit too cool toned for this look, and I don't think it's gonna complement it if I go too crazy. For today's long wear lipstick that is going to last hopefully all day long, this is the L'Oreal. This is their signature matte lip stain in shade I Explore. This is a really, really good, comfortable formula. But the reason why I like this applicator, especially for the L'Oreal, because it's nice and stiff and it's sharp on basically the very top for the tip, so you can be very precise. I'm gonna let this set, kind of work this into my lips, and then I'm gonna go with the second layer on top. I just love how everything came together. The halo eyes that are very wearable during the day. I think everything just looks so good. The blush, bronzer, the lip color. Usually I wouldn't choose this lip color, but I think it's so pretty and definitely a little bit out of my comfort zone going towards the browns. I think it complements everything really well together. The only thing, like I said, was the mascara was a letdown, but L'Oreal, they just have other formulas that I love, which it's okay. Sometimes I'm not gonna love everything. Let's go on with our day and let's see how this makeup lasts and wear. I'm literally doing the update in my closet because the lighting is really good, and Andrea was changing Emery and we were talking about videos. So let's quickly look at the face, talk about the face. I think honestly everything still looks really good. I think like eyes look still very beautiful. Wait, what is that in my eyes? It's just the way I'm looking. Everything still looks really good. I'm looking a little bit shiny right here, but honestly, my face, every single time I use something mattifying on my forehead, and right here, it gets oily so fast just because I feel like it thinks that it needs to produce a little bit extra oil because it's drying. But honestly, it looks pretty good. I'm really liking that glow that it's giving me. I think the cheeks look beautiful. I love the cheeks. I love the lip color. I think the eyebrows look stunning. The eyes look beautiful. Mascara is not smudging, but it was smudging a little bit right here, so I kind of just did this. I'm not really liking the concealer for some reason. Let me get up close. You can kind of see it's starting to separate right in the inner corners and it's doing some weird stuff. I still prefer my e.l.f. or even the Ulta Collection Beauty formula. I think their concealers are stunning. I think everything still looks really good. Emma agrees. And I'll catch you guys probably later tonight when I'm pretty much done with the makeup and we'll do the final wear test. Last and final update, we've had this makeup on for at least like 12 hours, which I think is a pretty good run, and it's been a really busy day. Let's talk about the pros, the cons, what's going on in the face, things like that. First thing, mascara. I'm noticing that right away. Really bad raccoon eyes, like right here, and I already said I kind of cleaned up a little bit, but I'm not a fan of this mascara. And that's okay, because sometimes drugstore mascaras, they can fall short, but the good thing is L'Oreal still has incredible mascaras that are phenomenal. Moving on to the next thing that I don't like is definitely that base. Something about it feels very interesting on the face. Like my face right now feels very kind of like not itchy, but it feels very like dry but oily at the same time, and I just can't wait to take my makeup off. And then right here where I applied it, and only in areas where I applied it, right here, and then right here, it's starting to like separate, and the makeup looks kind of like flaky in a way. Like the foundation looks really weird. It doesn't look good and it doesn't feel good. But then in areas where I didn't apply it, like I didn't apply too much right here on the top of my cheeks, I didn't apply it right here, it looks beautiful. Like the foundation, I think the blush, the bronzer, a little bit of that highlight looks stunning. But I think the biggest, most incredible thing about this makeup, the eyeshadow and the eyeliner. I mean, I feel like it hasn't moved, it hasn't budged. The color, the pigment, it's all still there. Beautiful. And the brows. The brows are still on. They look phenomenal, but I'm really happy with how the cheeks are looking and the eyeshadow. I'm still gonna say I'm not a fan of this concealer with the base, and I'm not a fan of the foundation on top of the Magic Perfecting base. I'm not really liking it. It's not good on my skin. It just kind of feels like it's sitting and it's starting to separate really bad. My skin is normal to sometimes dry and oily in certain areas, so it's sometimes normal to combination skin, but it's mostly normal. So let's say if I'm wearing like a mattifying primer, my skin will think it wants a little bit more moisture. So that's why I usually stick to like primers that kind of just do a little bit of everything, like a perfecting primer in a way, just kind of like it will kind of smooth everything out, but also give me hydration, or it will lock in that moisture. So yeah, I'm not a big primer gal. I would just rather have the foundation sit on top of my moisturizer and SPF, and I feel like a lot of times my moisturizer and SPF, they have a little tackiness to it, so they help the makeup stick on. Or I really like a tacky primer that has that like tackiness, and it just like helps the foundation stick to my skin. I think that's what works best for my skin personally. I'm really happy with the blush. I'm really happy with the bronzer. The highlight was okay. I think the color was a little off. It was a little too blue, like really cool toned on me. And the lip, I would say it's a good lip, but I feel like you definitely have to keep reapplying it. It's definitely longer lasting than a lot of the other lip stains that I've tried. But yeah, you can see like this color right here. It kind of looks a little, I don't know how to even explain it, like a little extra dark. It looks like my lips are kind of cracking in certain areas. Like it's completely gone in the center of my lips because I had dinner, but you can still see I have a little bit of it left on my lips. I'm gonna leave it at that. Please share your favorites or your top products by L'Oreal. But for now, you guys, thank you for watching, spending time with me, and I'll see you the next one very soon. Bye.